And welcome back to alltalktv.com here with Michael Williams, and we're talking about bullying, a very, very important topic. Hope all the parents are watching so you can, talk to your kids and get some inspiration about this very important topic. So continue along with your story, and then I'm going to ask you a final question.
Well, the story is very simple. I came to school very late one day.
Right.
As I walked up the steps with another fellow who happened to be black, I noticed a gym, what I thought was a gym class over on the side, making noise and stuff like that. But then I noticed bottles and cans and bricks and bats and poles and implements of destruction. And I thought, oh, well, it's just they're cleaning up or something, I didn't know. And there were about 150 steps that led to the top of the stairs and inside the building. So as we go up the first 10 steps or so, we're looking, and the class, what I thought was a gym class, looks at us. We go up a few more steps, and then I hear, "Let's get them." And so we kind of figured out what was going on, because it wasn't our first dance at the rodeo here with this type of a situation. And we're like halfway up the steps, and the doors are kicked open to the school, and it's 2 National Guardsmen with 2 on the doors, 2 more, and I just hear a machine gun being cocked and ready. They look down at the kids behind us, and by this time I could recognize some faces that I knew from class. Right? And they said, "Do not take another step." One guy who was in my health class and gym class, who I knew, this guy. He wasn't my buddy, but I knew who he was, and he knew who I was, first name up. And he took one more step, and the guy says, "One more step. Take one more step, and you're going to die." He stopped, but he looked like he was drunk or whatever. So that's extreme bullying, because those people I had to see in the halls, I had to see them in my class, I had to see them everywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty...
And we had to learn how to get along.
Unbelievable. That's a paralyzing moment, but it's something that I'm sure crystallized the topic for you. So before we go here, here's an interesting scenario. Let's say principal calls you, and your son is the culprit of bullying. How could it be? How could your son be charged with being a bully?
Well,
my son, it would never happen to my son. So listen.
I thought so. I thought my son may have been bullied at one point.
No. I'm saying he's the culprit.
He's the culprit.
He's the culprit.
Well,
so I'm asking you. I'm now your son. What do you say when he gets home from school? How do you deal with this accusation and the realization that it probably is true?
So the first thing I do is we go out back. We go completely away from mom. Okay, and we go into an isolated space out back or wherever, and we begin to talk. And I let him talk. What happened? Tell me. So that I've got the principals in. Now I need your in. What happened and why? And he's got to tell me. He's got to come up with the goods at a certain point.
And at some point in that conversation, you realize that he was the culprit. Then what do you say?
Then I tell him absolutely how wrong that was. And I again ask him, why would you possibly be doing this when you wouldn't want someone to do it to you? How could you possibly live with that? And I would explain to him, if he didn't understand some of my experiences, the really bad ones, and I would imagine his wouldn't be nearly as bad, seeing that I grew up in the 60s. It's bad back then. So, at my son's school, by the way, anytime there's a physical altercation, that's just stopped and everybody's sent right home. So he would have probably come home in the middle of the day. So I would have had to meet him at home, and we would have had a nice and interesting conversation. And we talk about these things, whereas my parents were more into the corporal punishment, and which was okay, because they were my parents and that's what they knew. I still love them to death at this point. But we would have to talk through this and think through the problem. And then I think at the end of that, we would have he would have some apologizing to do. And he would have some sort of penance of some sort given by me as well as the school. And I would want to understand that he understood this. So the gravity of the situation and the fact that any bullying situation, you may think that it's light, but it could be life or death. Because these days, kids go home, grab a knife, grab a gun, come back, and do that type of thing. So we would have had an interesting time talking, and we would have also had to go to the family of the child that was the victim. We had to do the rounds, man. We had to do the rounds. We would have had to go to the principal. He may have been put in front of his class by me to say why this shouldn't happen. And if there was an assembly, he might have to talk, so he would have to feel it.
Feel it.
Yeah,
100%. The shame.
Yeah, he would have to feel the shame.
Okay, listen, we got to have you back here. This has been awesome, but we're running short on time here. So Michael Williams right now is currently a contributor at CTV and the John Oakley Show on 6:40 a.m. He is one of the most engaging media personalities that I know, and great to see you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, take
Appreciate
care.
it.
All right, we'll be right back here on alltalktv.com. Wall and Grant will be right back right after this. Thanks for being here, everybody.